Oh, okay. Wait, go live. I think I have to hit the go live button.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah, that would make sense.
yeah,
I didn't know
maybe.
you had. I didn't have to do that last night though.
Um,
But anyway,
There it
okay.
goes.
I
There it
think we're
goes.
live now,
We
Oh,
right?
are
we got
live.
it. We got it.
Okay.
Woo,
All right.
hello.
Okay. So now we're live on everywhere. I think YouTube, Facebook. You got Facebook, Hannah?
Oh.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
I got
now we're
Facebook.
live. Oh, now I got to kill my audio here. Okay. All right. Star Wars. Okay, so 400 episodes. First off, just want to say that again, I appreciate, as we always do. We want to say we appreciate everybody that comes and tunes in, listens, especially the few patrons we do have that have been committed to us ever since we launched, just sometime last year. So it's never been about you know a full time thing for us. Casey and I started this thing. God, it's 10. I think it's been 10 years now.
Hmm.
So it's taken us 10 years to get to 400. I mean, that's almost every week. It's not every week, but it's almost every week. But it's been incredible. It's been fun. Obviously, there's a lot of Star Wars to talk about, so that's why we're even able to do a show every week,
Oh man.
especially with all this stuff coming out of Disney Plus and the books, the comics, the games. The games are getting ready to kick off really big here soon.
Yep.
So really, my first conversation. This is not really a agenda type episode. Normally, we have some talking points, but I really want to just dive in, just some Star Wars conversation here. And the first thing I want to throw out to you all is, I know each time in the shows that we do together, we always talk about specific things, news, specific shows, reviewing things. Right now, I want to just dive into the overall state of Star Wars. Now, we've done this before as far as what we think the overall state of Star Wars in the community, but I want to know personally from each of you. And Hannah, you go ahead and go first. Basically, just talk about to you where Star Wars is and how has it evolved from younger ages to now, and all the content it's in there. Is it still the Star Wars you remember, or is it better, or is it different? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I just think in general, anything is going to feel as you learn.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Star Wars is different for me now than it was when I was little. But you're also talking to the person who her parents would take her weekends, so get to meet some of the actors within Star Wars and within the Star Wars universe, and for a weekend. In that, I just feel like there was a period growing up, especially during that waiting period between Revenge of the Sith and The Force Awakens, of is there going to be anything else? Is there going to be anything more? And now all of a sudden it feels almost of content that has to deal with Star Wars. And I feel like at times, especially as we've discussed on Inside the Force, talked about on Mandalore, there are times where it feels like quantity doesn't represent the quality that Star
Mm-hmm.
Wars tends to produce. But other times, the quantity does match the quality. If not, the quality exceeds the quantity. So I feel like there's so much out there. There's so many books that we have to get to as it's changed for me, but it still is a bit of my life. I still love Star Wars. I just hope we don't get to the point where I personally got with Marvel, where it feels like it's just too much and it feels like a homework assignment to try to keep up with everything versus as I enjoy watching this. So that answers your question or not, but
No, it totally. That's how you feel, Martin. What do you think?
Well, first of all, let me say congrats on 400. It's an honor to be here with you for that. I mean, I discovered you. I don't know, maybe you were at 200 when I discovered you guys. So
Oh wow, was it? Yeah,
something like that. I
how
can't
long
remember.
we been going for? 3 years now, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
maybe it was around there. But anyway, it's just great to be here. So congrats on that. Go for another 400 more, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see.
And Hannah, I don't think we've ever done a show together.
Oh,
On
no, I
Just Said
was a
the Force.
guest. I was a guest on Mandalorian once
On
Yeah.
for
Mandalore, but not on here.
Yeah.
yeah, but not here.
So, so let's see where Star Wars at. I think I agree with a lot of what Hannah was saying, and I think where Star Wars has changed the most is how we have access to it. Because when Star Wars
Mhm.
first came out in the 70s and the 80s, I mean, all you had was going to the movie theater. And then you had the VHS tapes when they came out on home video. But that's all you had. We didn't have internet. We didn't have social media. We didn't have streaming services. So our access to Star Wars has changed so much. And, there was some books back then, they started trickling out. But now, whether it's audiobooks or reading books or online articles or websites or like Disney Plus, all this stuff, there's so much that we can access now that I think the fandom has grown since then. It used to just be movie fans, and that was it. And like you kind of touched on, Hannah, after the original trilogy, we never thought we were going to get any more. And then the prequels came out, and the world went nuts, and we thought, okay, well, now we're not going to get any more again. And
Mhm.
then, another few years pass, and along comes Force Awakens. And I think, along with the fandom growing, the generations grew too, because all of us that
Mhm.
were there for the original trilogies, that was just one generation that got to experience that. And a lot of people would share with their family, share with their kids, but every time a new trilogy came out, you have a new generation of people experiencing Star Wars for the first time. And you're basically just like layering the fandom on top of each other. And it's just grown. Like, I think with how much we have to access now, it's just grown so much. And yeah, there's quantity and there's quality. Not everything has been that great, but plus it's also a money making machine right now. I mean, Star Wars is one of the top three highest grossing franchises in all of entertainment history, right? So it's a money making machine, and I think I think the point that Star Wars is at now is they realize they can't pump out too much too fast. Let's dial it back a little bit and put out quality as well as quantity, but quantity in a sense that it's controlled. It's not just out, release, release, release. It's now let's control it and make sure we're releasing good stuff. So I think where Star Wars was like up and then disappeared, up and then disappeared, and then it kind of came back, and then it's really sunk. I think they're now on a slow trajectory. They found the path, and I mean, you look at the stuff that we're getting on Disney Plus, it's just getting better and better and better. Whether it's Obi-Wan, whether it's The Mandalorian, The Bad Batch, everything has been really good. There's been nothing that we've gone, I'm not watching this. We've watched it all, so
Mhm. Mhm.
I think we're on a good path right now. I think they're finding that groove.
Well, that's interesting because I thought about this question last night, and I haven't had time, like Hannah kind of said. It's been so much so fast. I feel like I haven't had a time to really just sit back and think, where Star Wars is, and I have this huge love for it. So I'm gonna I'm gonna try to enjoy as much as I can, and some things, yes, some things I don't like more than others, but I think I am getting to the point now where it definitely is difficult to keep up, especially on the stuff that you're maybe not so excited about. Like, and I would say maybe the novels right now are not so excited about. I feel like there was a stretch where every novel that came out, I was pumped to try to get into it. Now there's some stories that just have come out, and I'm slowly getting into High Republic. That wasn't a really fast thing for me. So, because there's a lot of High Republic stuff right now coming out on the novel side. Before, I remember, when I first got into the novels, it was like Ahsoka and Dark Disciple and the Aftermath series, and it's like, oh man, these are great stories that are expanding, the timeline where we're at. But now I feel like I feel like it's hard because I think, we had this discussion years ago when this whole canon thing started, was how relevant are these stories going to be in the overall arching connectivity of these different mediums, right? Are the casual fans going to be okay not reading this novel? Are they going to be missing anything? Are they, if they don't play this game, are they going to be missing anything? Or is it just an isolated event that we can just enjoy and move on? I think that's how it started. I think that it's getting a lot more relevant these days. I feel like they're putting a lot more importance on certain characters, on certain situations, and certain eras that are causing people to miss things if they don't experience it. Now, I could be wrong about that, but I just, especially, I think back to when the VR stuff came out and the Vader Immortals game came out. I don't think either of you have played that yet, right?
Don't have VR, yeah.
No.
I mean, that is to me a very significant story around Darth Vader. And, you know, without spoiling anything, his search still to find and bring back Padme.
Right.
That is pretty significant. Now, the character you play and, you know, the things you do, that's okay. But the things around Darth Vader are really incredible. And his comics, as we've illustrated, Hannah, that Charles Soule did with the building of his castle and, you know, the dark side connection there. I mean, that's massive information. So I'm starting to feel like they are trying to make stories that are outside the movies, and obviously this happening in Disney Plus, very relevant to the entire connectivity of Star Wars. Now, I think the argument could be whether or not that's a good or bad thing. I mean, I think it's a good thing. I just think it's going to be very difficult for fans to make that connection all the time.
Well, it is a good point when you guys touch upon how much there is. Like, I don't have time to read all the books. If I do get in an audiobook, that's what I can fit in because I can listen to it while I'm at work.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good thing because of the interconnectivity. I mean, that's what Marvel succeeded at really well, was connecting everything. And Star Wars has been doing that here and there, but now they're really, like you said, they're really, really focusing on connecting everything. But it does make it difficult for fans to keep up because there is so many TV shows now and the movies and the books and the comics. It's a lot. And
Yeah.
it makes it tough to be a fan of multiple things because I'm a fan of Marvel, I'm a fan of Star Wars, I'm a fan of DC, I'm a fan of, you know, Magnum PI, like all these things. It's hard to fit it all in, and it's like you have to really focus on Star Wars, and I can't, so I'm going to miss out on some things.
Yeah, we have a couple of comments here on Facebook. Zach Poiner, I hope I'm saying your name right, is saying, I can't keep up with the novels. It's just difficult to keep up.
Yeah.
And I think we all agree. Have Bianca. Oh, Zach also said this is the way to start off. Bianca, she said, good morning. So good morning, Bianca.
Good
And
morning,
then they also wrote, it's easy enough to look up story bits online. If I can't find it and it's important to the movie/TV, then that's a problem. So I think we can all agree with those comments. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. And
well, I mean, that goes back to like Ahsoka. You know,
Hmm.
Ahsoka's coming out here soon. If you, I mean, I can't imagine. I know there are some. I can't imagine people that haven't watched the Clone Wars. But, you know, how excited are you for Ahsoka if you've never even watched the Clone Wars or Rebels?
Yeah. Good point.
You know, it's you're really tapping into that really hardcore group of Star Wars fans that have been with her from the beginning, or even just maybe, you know, I would think Tales of the Jedi that came out and showed those 3 episodes of her. I feel like that was a good idea to put out there ahead of this series, just because if you didn't know who she was, you got a quick backstory of how she, you know, the first time we've ever seen her as a baby, and then train under Anakin a little bit, and then of course the post thing where after she left the Order and fought that Inquisitor, which was kind of a taken out of the novel a little bit, which you're into right now, Martin, right? You're doing the Ahsoka novel right now?
I actually just finished it.
Oh, nice.
It's short. I didn't realize it was so short. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
a
a young
third
adult
of.
novel. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty. But yeah, I just finished it. So there's some. I mean, we could talk about it another time. There were some interesting takes in it for sure that I was like, oh, I really liked how they did that. I love how they expanded the 4 episodes we got in
Mhm.
season 7 of Clone Wars, and where she's on that farming planet and trying to hide. I mean,
Yes,
most of the book is based on that planet, and
that's right.
so I love that they expanded that story. That was really interesting. Yeah, it was good.
Zach actually asked us a question for our opinion. Should Ashley did the voice of Ahsoka? Should they have had her be in the live action?
Interesting question.
That's been a debate since they cast Rosario. Yeah.
Which was, I believe, it was a fan cast anyway. I think someone had posted years ago that Rosario would be, ideal for a live action Ahsoka.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a
Yeah,
fan
they actually
cast.
pushed it. They pushed it real hard, and Dave Filoni noticed and said,
Yes.
"Okay, yeah, I'll take a look at that."
And then all of a sudden, she just showed up as Ahsoka one day. So it was pretty incredible that happened. I do think that, and there's something on a side note on that. Did you see? I noticed there was an interview that got reposted. It's been a while, but it got reposted that Hayden Christensen, after when talks were of the Clone Wars was happening after Episode 3, they asked him if he would do the voice, and he said, "Absolutely, I would do the voice of Anakin."
Oh man.
So you have people, that for some reason, you have actors that they ask to do both, and then they don't. Katie Sackhoff is obviously a clear example of moving her from Bo-Katan as a voice up to live action and seeing her do it. I really think that's tough. I think it's tough for Ashley, because I think physically, I don't know if she's. I don't want to say she can't do it, but I think her size and her, just the way her physical makeup is, I don't know. She would have been maybe best to do the Jedi stuff that is required, the physical acting of it. Maybe that was part of it. I have no idea. Maybe they just thought Rosario looked more like Ahsoka does, when she's older. I don't know. I've come to just realize that I do, when I hear Ashley's voice, that is Ahsoka to me. I can see where, the same thing, almost like Sabine, right? I think the Tia, who voiced her in Rebels, I think would have made a good, probably would have maybe gave the chance to be a live action Sabine, but the one they got looks the part too, so
I think that's
I
what
don't
they
know.
were going for, is more the look. They wanted to
I
get
totally
as
agree.
close to the physical look as they could. And as much as we love Ashley as the voice, I don't think she quite has the facial structure. It would have taken a lot of makeup or prosthetics to really transform her into Ahsoka. We might not have recognized her, but whereas
Yeah.
Rosario looks like a living Ahsoka. Like, she pulls it off without even trying. So I think that's what they more wanted. But
Agreed.
because we're live, we got to keep up with stuff. There
Yeah.
is some comments coming in on the YouTube one right now.
Yes.
Lisa Wesner, who's my partner, she says, "Congratulations on your 400th episode." And then
Thank you,
Bianca,
Lisa.
who you guys just mentioned, jumped on. She said, "Boss Logic did fan art that really jump-started Rosario as Ahsoka. I didn't realize you're on YouTube, so I came over here now."
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Bianca. Yes, Boss Logic. Okay, so that's how that started.
And Bianca
And I
did
believe that
also-
was. What's that?
Sorry, I was about to say Bianca did do a quick Facebook before she hopped over to YouTube, I believe. She said, "I
Okay.
just hope that if some end up loving Ahsoka, the TV show, and they go back and watch the Clone Wars and Rebels."
Agreed.
So
Well,
it could be
I
a
think-
way.
I think that may have happened when people that were watching The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, when they saw this live action Ahsoka, if they have not seen Clone Wars or anything, they probably went, "Who is that?"
Yeah.
Because she won everybody over, and they probably looked at that and went, "Wow, who's that character, Ahsoka? Where'd she come from? Clone Wars? Okay, I'm gonna go watch Clone Wars now." So I think probably a lot of people backtracked after seeing the live action first.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's right.
Yeah.
And I believe that artwork, it could be wrong, but I believe that artwork was, I mean, years ago. I mean, before I think even before obviously Disney Plus even was a thing. I think it was a while ago. I think
Wow.
that actually happened, and it kind of got resurfaced when this started happening again. So, but I think that's the, that's the. I believe that's what the plan is, at least with Lucasfilm right now. Is I think they're and we talked about it. They're trying to fill all these gaps too with the timeline right now. I think to the point where they want to be able to say you can go in chronological order if you wanted to, and watch all these things and hit every era that they've outlined now, these 9 eras that they outline now at some point whenever we start getting movies and stuff from these other eras, that you can, really go through in order, which I think is a really cool thing. Now, I'm a big canon person and timeline person, so I like the fact that they're trying to do that. Now, of course, there's going to be inconsistencies. We've seen many of those already, but you just gotta realize that it's not going to be perfect, and that this is more or less like historical events that have happened, and there's going to be different interpretations of things. But the big
You
ones
can
are if there's a major continuity error. That's the ones I can't really get.
well, and
I
you
don't
can
think
look
there's
at
been
it
yet.
as you can think of it as like, okay, we're now in a timeline we've never experienced before. We're seeing stories now that are filling a time gap, a time period that we don't have any stories in. And if you're looking back on the last 40 years of all the history and trying to connect all the dots and maybe not everything lines up, we could think of it as, well, this is just like people passing on stories, like from generation to generation. Every time a story gets retold, not all the facts are always exactly the same. Things get
Mm.
changed. It's like gossip. Things change as the story gets retold and retold. That's all this could be. We're 40
Yeah,
years later. The Ahsoka story, well, maybe it's not exactly as everybody remembers because she's been around for so long. It's just, every generation tells the story a little bit differently.
Hmm.
so Drink the Movies on YouTube says congrats on 400. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
We have
Fantastic.
questions from Zach, unless there are some more
All
on
right.
YouTube you want to read.
Nope, go ahead.
All right. So one question is, who do you think will be side characters or guest appearances? Any special guests like Jack Black or Lizzo? And then will they be saving Ezra? Is that the deal?
Oh, so guest appearances on Ahsoka.
Yes.
Well, I initially would have said Mon Mothma, but we actually already saw her in the trailer, so that is inevitable. I think one person we haven't seen yet is Rex, which I think Rex
I think
will
it's
be
rumored.
on there.
I
Yeah,
think it's
it's
rumored that
definitely
Tamora
rumored.
Morrison is gonna
Yeah.
return as Rex.
And they kind of have to do it. That's a big
Yeah,
story with where Ahsoka and Rex ended on Clone Wars season 7. We got to see what happened to that relationship. Did they part ways? Did they make a plan together? Where did they go? Because why did
agreed.
Ahsoka show up
Mhm.
alone on Mandalorian and Boba Fett? They
Right.
had to part ways for some reason. So yeah, hopefully we get that.
And with his, unless they fix the accelerated aging, he's going to be really old. So
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
I hope they pause that somehow, or they figure out how to like get rid of that. But I think other appearances, I do think maybe not this season. I think Luke is going to show up again.
Really?
I do think Luke's going to show up again.
That would be freaking cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if John Favreau shove himself in there somewhere.
Yeah,
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Yeah.
he might. I don't. Other than that, obviously we're getting Thrawn.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know Hayden is supposed to be there
Oh,
somehow.
Oh,
that's
that's
So
true.
rumored. Yep.
flashbacks with Vader, flashbacks with him and Ahsoka. I mean, we would love to see that because we got flashbacks of Obi-Wan and
Mhm.
Anakin again, and it was beautiful to see. So if we could get flashbacks of Ahsoka and Anakin in live action and kind of relive some of the Clone Wars moments,
Oh, maybe we can get
I just might
Obi-Wan in
die.
there. Maybe we
Yeah.
can get Ewan McGregor in there as well.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
man, that would be that would be good too.
There is a lot, man. I mean, you know what I would love personally if they flash back and we got Asajj Ventress somewhere in there.
Ooh,
Come on,
yes.
live action Asajj.
You know, she
Yeah,
and
they did a
Ahsoka
flashback,
did
but
have that
yes.
episode.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah,
Towards the end of the season 5. Yes,
yeah.
That's a good thought.
that's a good
I mean,
thought.
that's a fan hope. That's a wish, but again, it can only be flashbacks. So
Hmm.
You know, I mean, I don't think they're going to do it, but if you've got Mon Mothma there and it's been 5 to 7 years after Return of the Jedi, technically close by would be Leia.
Oh, that's true.
Because she is, part of the, part of the government yet. She hasn't
Hey,
split off
yeah.
and formed the new resistance yet, or the resistance yet. So she is part of the New Republic, and I don't know. I don't know if they'll go there, but that would be a cool. Even if it's just a, I don't know. Even if her presence is there, it would be pretty neat. It would be pretty neat.
Well,
Yeah.
would we get Zeb?
Zeb should be back. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that was a tease
Yeah.
for us that he's going to be back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Ahsoka, I do have one little note here. There was an article released. I don't know if you guys saw it yet, but Dave Filoni has gone on record now saying Ahsoka is Rebels season 5.
Yes, I did see that.
Whoa.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's the reaction there. That's a great reaction because that's what as soon as I saw that, I was like, whoa.
And then Bianca on here says, in one of the current Star Wars games, I saw that they have a render of Tamara as Rex as he looks in Rebels. It looked so good. I'm not sure which. Maybe Bianca, let us know what game that is. I've definitely seen renders of him as Rex. I mean, and I don't think he would look that much. I think he would look similar to the clone trooper we saw in Obi-Wan. The one that was kind of hanging out the streets, that was really old looking, and I mean that looked like Rex that was sitting there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But put on the white goatee and the big mustache like we saw in Rebels.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Jack commented that they wish that they spent a little more time making Hayden look younger in the flashback scenes.
Mm.
And then also, should Millie Brown younger Leia?
Oh, Millie Brown from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of stuff like her, like casting fan castings of her as Leia too.
Well, because Carrie
that.
Fisher's daughter has done it already.
She has.
Lords, what's her name?
Billy Lord.
Billy Lord.
But with her, you have to face censor her, or face CGI her face. But Millie resembles Leia. I mean, Carrie Fisher. So I don't know how much you would have to do that. I think that's the problem. I think that fans maybe have right now. Obviously, is how much of the likeness do we have to have from those original characters, or are we able to recast them? And I think it's hard to recast them. Now, did you also see the rumor? This guy goes to the next step, Filoni's movie. But apparently there's a rumor that Alden, who played Solo, is apparently rumored to be in his movie. Now, that's just a rumor.
Han Solo?
As Han Solo.
Whoa.
So here's where we start getting to that cross timeline where, post original trilogy, are we going to recast the original characters then? Because pre-original trilogy, we've been okay with it, obviously, with Alden being Han Solo, and we got young Leia, young Luke.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent. We talked about, I think, Hannah, that with Mon Mothma being in Ahsoka, now Genevieve has played her now in post Return of the Jedi, where somebody else played Mon Mothma in Return of the Jedi. So they're doing it, but I don't know. Mon is obviously not a original character. I know she's from Return of the Jedi, but we're talking Luke, Leia, and Han, obviously. So, and of course, Lando. I mean, Billy D. Williams is actually still around, but obviously can't play a younger version of himself. So,
Mm.
but you know, you look at Indiana Jones and that CGI that they did with him. Yeah, I mean, it's getting better and better and better.
It is. It is. And I mean, this has been a huge discussion on both of our shows
Yes.
about, do they replace the actors? Are we okay with it? Or do they use deepfake technology and just have somebody in there that's playing the part? And I think the more and more I think about it, if they could just cast actors that look close enough, and I pulled up on screen Millie Bobby Brown as Leia, and it is uncanny how much she
Yeah.
looks like Carrie Fisher. We'll have to post these pictures on our Facebook pages. It's unbelievable. It's the same
Wow.
thing that we get as Sebastian Stan being Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
So cast, where I land is, if you cast actors that look this close to them, go for it. I'm all for it. It allows us to get our favorite characters back again on screen. Yes, it's different actors playing them, but they look so close that it's not going to matter. Let's do it. And
And those are
avoid the CGI, because the CGI can still, yes, it's getting better, but it, use it to just enhance
right.
Sebastian Stan and enhance Millie Brown, but have these actors that look close enough, and I'm all for it.
Anka posted on Facebook the link to the Captain Rex Disney photo.
Fantastic. Thank you.
She says it was Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I believe that's
Galaxy
a
of
mobile
Heroes.
game.
The mobile game, yeah. Yeah. She says what? Say again, Han? Yeah, that's the rumor I heard. I heard possibly Luke and Han being in Filoni's movie. And of course, and Alden being apparently in negotiations to reprise that role. But
That
again,
would be so
whole
cool.
rumors. Now we brought up there's a gentleman I don't know I always forget his real name, but he was in that movie Age of Adeline where he played a young Harrison Ford, and he looks like Harrison. He looks
my
like
God.
Harrison Ford.
He looks like Harrison Ford. Yeah.
It's uncanny, and
Yeah,
he studied his mannerisms and. Now I'm a little biased that he should have been probably cast as Solo in the movie Solo, but he wasn't.
You and me are both. His name is Anthony Ingruber.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's him.
Great.
Oh, if you guys have not seen Age of Adeline, because he actually plays, because it's a time travel movie,
Yes.
and Harrison Ford is dating Blake Lively's character. She stays young, he grows old, but they go back in flashbacks and they show you a young Harrison Ford, and it's this Anthony Ingruber playing young Harrison Ford. He's identical. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and I'm sure people have seen it now, but he's got a YouTube out there where he does lines from Star Wars.
Yeah,
it's uncanny.
I don't know why he didn't get the part. Yeah, it's crazy.
But like the thing is that it comes back to that whole conversation, right? Because I mean, if you look like something like Add Rings of Power, the person they cast as Elrond in that looks nothing like him.
Right.
Nothing like him. But his acting was so superb that they will just run with it. So
yeah,
I feel like that's more fantasy.
Did that take you out of it though? Did that take you out of it?
Did, but then he was so good that I was like, okay, I can live with this. But I don't think Star Wars fans would be as forgiving if they were that extreme.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
And that's why they need to go for these actors that look a lot like them.
Yeah,
right.
And with the popularity of Millie Brown right now, I mean, Stranger Things is a worldwide phenomenon, and then people find out she's becoming Princess Leia. That just adds to the hype.
So that kind of let me branch into like my next part of my conversation was, overall Star Wars. Is, in your opinions, what do you think, since the Disney purchase and all the things that they've put out there, what are some of the things you think that they have done good? What are some of the decisions that they have made that you think have helped, push the series, push the franchise out there, push the fandom, increase the fandom, or not, or maybe some of the bad things?
All I can think of is that meme that I saw where I forget who, but I think it was J.J. Abrams who said, "You can't make a Star Wars movie that'll please both the new generation and the old generation, and then it's a picture of Jon Favreau saying, "Hold my beer."
Interesting.
Because I think Mandalorian is just
Interesting.
one of those things that really, like, it just captures what Star Wars is all about. It's about
Yeah.
it's about adventure, it's about rescue, it's about exploration, it's about inner journey, the constant battle of good and evil, and Fav capture that in the Mandalorian. That both that pleased, in my opinion, all generations of Star Wars. Mandalorian is one of the crowning jewels of modern.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because there's not much negative about Mandalorian. It's hard to
Right.
find. There's no fans that are divided over it. It was lightning in a bottle, or a lightsaber in a bottle. You could say. Like,
I don't know. You could do lightning in a bottle because Sith
oh yeah,
shoot
true,
lightning. So
true.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. So to add on top of that, I think really Disney buying it, number one, was a big thing because we don't ever know if
Mm.
Lucas was ever going to get around to doing another trilogy. Yeah, he had the stories, he had the ideas, and we see a lot of these articles coming out. Oh, if Lucas had done it, but we don't even know. So the fact that Disney alone just bought it because they wanted to release more, that's a number one, a big change. And then bringing out Disney Plus, that's huge because giving Star Wars access on a streaming service to the whole world where they can watch a weekly series of characters, that changed the game, I think. Instead of
Mm.
waiting every 3 to 5 years for a new movie, which is only 2 hours long, now you have a weekly series that allowed them to expand the stories and dive deeper into characters and just visit periods of time that we don't know about. I think Disney Plus and going to a TV show based format changed the game for Star Wars,
Mm.
and that's why we have so much content coming out. And so I think those are the two big positives. I mean, yes, the fan base is divided on the movies, on the sequel trilogy, whatever. That it You have to remember that publicity, good or bad, doesn't matter. It's all good. I mean, even when there's a lot of negativity out there, it still drives people to go watch because they want to see what all the kerfuffle's about, right? So
The only worst thing about being talked about is not being talked about.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
well, I think I it's hard to say that there was really any bad decisions. There like overall all Star Wars encompassing bad decisions. There might be micro bad decisions, things we didn't like, directions they took, or things we didn't like they did to characters or something. But overall, I think it's really only good because we look at how much we got coming. It's
Yeah. I actually was going back and forth on how I was going to answer that, but I think I agree with both of you that because Mandalorian was the first series, live action series that we got from Star Wars. I mean that's a lot of pressure because if it tanked, then I feel like all Star Wars series might have felt that repercussion from the fandom.
And
About
actually, this is a comment that ties into that. Zach commented, the hiring of different directors who are doing it for a job and not for their own fandom is a problem. I think that actually helps support why Mandalorian was so successful because John was a huge fan of Star Wars.
all those directors were, I feel like,
Yeah.
huge. Yeah.
those first season, especially Bryce and Deborah and what was oh man, I can't remember his the other director's name, but even Taika, I think, directed an episode of the first season.
Mm-hmm.
All Star Wars fan, all geeks, that follow that. So I do believe the success of the Mandalorian really propelled, not only the stories that we got in there, but I do want to say that I think that it also, I think one of the bad decisions that Lucasfilm has done, and I think they have done it a couple times, and I think they're trying to correct it. And that is, I feel like they promote projects too quickly because they've changed so much of their schedule and that the content that's coming. If you remember, a year after Mandalorian came out, they had a big, one of those investor calls. We had a ton of series on there that we never got. The Rangers of the New Republic, Lando. Is Lando ever going to come?
Oh,
Yeah.
The Star Wars droid show that was put on there. There's several things, and then of course we got promoted. We got told that. Lucasfilm told us Patty Jenkins' movie's coming out, Taika's movie's coming out. Now, will they ever come out? I don't know, but they were expected to be out by now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think to me that's their big challenge right now is tempering expectations and not being, and the problem is they all do it now. Whether or not it's more of a requirement, I don't know, but Marvel does it, DC does it. They put out stuff all the time, like these calendars of movies that are coming out, and I know it changes, but Marvel's been really good about sticking with, if they tell us it's coming, it's eventually coming.
Mm-hmm.
DC's kind of done the same thing. It's coming, but Star Wars has had to pull back on several projects, and I think that kind of hurts the momentum in a way. So that's, to me, that's the only thing I would say that I think they've made a little bit mistakes doing over the last few years, because I think you're just putting too much out there, and people's excitement gets so incredibly invested, and then all of a sudden it's like, now I don't believe this because I think it's a clickbaiter that's out there, but there's somebody out there posting that the Acolyte has been canceled. I don't believe it.
No.
Everybody's kind of saying like, no, it's not canceled. So,
Yeah.
But you have people out there like that you shouldn't be paying attention to anyway. But I don't think they're going to do that. We saw too much of that in that celebration, and they've got a great cast and all that stuff. So,
it might have been a writer's strike, but I don't think it's been canceled.
At first they said there wasn't because it was already shot. So,
okay, never mind that.
What's getting delayed now is season 4, possibly Mandalorian, and I don't know what Andor. I think is. I think they got that finished right before the strike, so I think that's going to be still on pace. But the movie, though, you don't know.
Yeah, I wonder with Star Wars if another weakness that they have, because I feel like started to see some of this bleed through, is the idea that this is a cash cow, and so they're going to milk it for all it's worth. And I think prime is Batuu in Disney World and Disneyland, especially the Galactic Star Cruiser,
which just got shut down, didn't it?
Yeah, but I think Martin, this kind of jumps off of where is it a question of weakness, or is it just us saying we would have done it differently? Because I feel like, at least with the Star Cruiser, I would have done that differently, or I would have just turned it into a day experience if the story's going to be the same no matter what time you go and there really isn't a deviation. Right. And then with Batuu, you put yourself in a specific time, so you really expand there. But once again, is that, and I know Dave, you and I've talked about this a lot of times. Yeah. But the question is that just us saying this is how we would do it, or is that truly a misstep?
I mean, personally, I think it's one of those things where you're trying to capitalize on the content that's out there. And at the time, the sequel trilogy was the thing that was driving the Star Wars universe at the time, right? And that's why they put Batuu at that time period. That's why they put the Star Cruiser, and they've got Rey and Kylo Ren on it with the First Order stormtroopers. I feel like the creators thought this time period is going to hit home with this new generation, and maybe it has. That's the thing, is like we're not young right now, right? So I've looked at my girls that are younger, and my oldest 13, who's 13 now, grew up with the sequel trilogy, loves Rey, right? my youngest daughter got into Chewbacca, loving Chewbacca. So that's like their favorite characters. Although now my oldest has shifted over to Ahsoka. Like Ahsoka, when she started watching Clone Wars, Ahsoka's her favorite character now. But I can see it in their eyes. Now, Hannah, we have talked about this too, how often we go to Disney. We're a little spoiled in this sense.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
You know, when we go to Batu, we've seen it before. But at some point, everybody that, even if they make one trip every 4 or 5 years, at some point, you've got to do something different. You've got to change it a little bit. And I hope they thought of that in the future. Maybe they didn't, but I hope they did. And for my girl's sake, I think they're going to start thinking, this is the same thing. I've seen this before. I've seen this before. I've seen this before. But you know, you change it up to where all of a sudden you've got Ahsoka walking around, you got clone troopers walking around, you got Thrawn walking around. I mean, it's like, wait a minute, now this is incredible again, you know? So I don't know if they're going to do it though, but so that goes in part with, I think, both of what you were saying. I think the creators were just thinking of how do we capitalize on what's out there right now. And hopefully that part of the timeline, those characters stick with this new generation and they keep wanting to enjoy this part of the timeline year after year after year. But I also think as overall fans of Star Wars, we want to see different things there. We want to see it change and grow and be bigger, and just not sure if they have that in their process, you know?
Yeah, very true.
See, Bianca, I'll read Bianca's comments here. The massive wide world success of The Mandalorian is one of the reasons I believe that we're getting all of the new content. And she says Mandalorian's appeal and the social media storm to all types of fans, casual, diehard, and even non-Star Wars fans was insane. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing Grogu and Mando.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather they pull back on something if it's not going to work than them release it and it be bad. And then she says, wasn't season 4 of Mando almost all written? Isn't that what Favreau said? I believe he said he was working on it. I'm not sure if it was fully written. I didn't see any comments of that, but I know he had an outline of it all done. But unfortunately, no one can write anything, which is weird because I feel like he can be in his home and in his corner still, like writing.
Yeah.
No one would know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But
why
When
wouldn't
the
you,
writer
right?
strikes
Maybe not.
over. When the writer
Yeah.
strikes over, John, how
Maybe
did you
not.
have this whole script? Did you write it in a day?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally.
So
We
as
have-
we kind of close out here a little bit here, what, Hannah? Go ahead.
I was
You
about
got
to
some
say we
numbers?
on Facebook.
Yes.
MA Max says Hannah Burr has a likeness to Leia.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
guess a little.
Just put your hair up in those little buns on the side and
Yes.
see.
Zach has a couple of comments too. A lot, basically agreeing with what we were saying. He did say that apparently people are saying Star Trek does a better job bringing back their OG characters than Star Wars. And then Zach also commented that he loved Rey as well.
Interesting.
Oh, Martin, you're a Star Trek. You watch the shows, right?
I watch it all. Yeah, I'm a sci-fi fan. Yeah.
Do you think it's true? They bring old characters
Well, I mean,
back?
if you look back when they brought Kirk back in, they brought Spock back in. I mean, they brought the actual actors back in, and it's just part of the storyline. They're just 30, 40 years older now, and then they're farther along their journey. So, I mean, yeah.
But they did it by altering the timeline. That's what J.J. Abrams did, right? He brought them back only because they were alternate timelines versions of them.
When he brought Spock back, yeah.
It was very clever how J.J. rebooted that series.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good.
Yeah, the new movies. But when you look at the Next Generation movies, the transition, the passing of the torch from Kirk to Picard.
Yeah.
That was a legit story, and it was fine. Yeah. So I mean, and they brought, even in the TV show, they brought back Scotty. He guest starred on Next Generation an episode, and they brought back Bones. He guest starred, and so Yeah.
So
Interesting
last thing
argument.
here, I think we've kind of hit on this a little bit in the past episodes, but going forward now, Martin, I'll go with you first. What era of Star Wars are you looking forward to most?
Oh, yeah, we kind of touched on this, I think, on our last council sessions,
Mm-hmm.
didn't we?
Mm-hmm. A little bit.
Yeah. What era? And you're talking about all the new ones that they released?
The 9 eras,
The
yes. So
9 eras, yeah.
you have
I'm
Dawn of
gonna
the Jedi, Old Republic, High Republic. Then you've got what is it? I don't even have it in front. I thought I knew them by heart. Fall of the Jedi, Age of the Empire. What is it? Age of Rebellion, and then there's uh, New Republic, Rise of the First Order, and then New Jedi Order.
So what era are we in with Mandalorian and Ahsoka?
The New Republic.
New Republic.
That's the New Republic area. And this is an area that we don't have a lot of stories in. It's very wide open right now. So
Yeah.
I'm torn between that era and the very last one. I love this time gap that we're in right now because it's wide open as to because we don't know what happened in all the years between Jedi and Force Awakens. There's not a lot in there, and there's a lot that could have happened. So I would love them to revisit Luke and see what Luke did after Return of the Jedi, go through his whole building of the Jedi Academy, go through him, training some young Jedi and all of that, and then having that fail, and let's see his journey. What led him to being on, was it back two or whatever that, Actu, where he was solitary when Rey finally found him? Like, what led him to that? I would love to see that entire journey. I'm really excited about seeing that. I don't know if they're gonna do it or not, but I just love this gap of time that we're in because it's stories we don't know and there's a lot that they can fill in. But I'm also equally excited about the newest timeline because you guys know I love Rey. Rey is this generation's Luke Skywalker. She's the mirror image of Luke, kind of thing. And the fact that she is coming back in the new movie, whether she's featured or a prominent star, we don't know. But just to continue her story and where do we go from there? Because she's got a massive
Responsibility.
not responsibility project. I don't know what the best word is, but she has to rebuild everything. There's nothing left, and she's got to start it all over again and get people trusting the Jedi again, rebuilding the Jedi, getting that back in there. So I think that's an exciting time, and I hope there's a lot of story potential there for her, and I hope Daisy Ridley is on board to tell a lot of that story and just continue it on. And it's because more so than any other time period, that one is really wide open. That's the future.
Yeah.
Where does Star Wars go from there into the future? So.
That's right. And I think I know your answer, but go ahead.
Apparently, Zach knows my answer too because he commented on Facebook what I would have said is the Old Republic. There is so much there, and it's so radically different than anything else we've seen in Star Wars, especially with the idea of all of these. Like, there's a Sith Academy. I'm sorry, what? So,
yeah.
And then like there's a huge thing with Mandalorians, and of course I'm doing this all off of Republic 1 and 2, the games. But I want to see more of that because I think that would be so fascinating, and that's the way for us to explore the Sith side of the Force. I mean, it's right there. It's being begged to be made, and then also with Darth Bane, like, come on, we got to include something with Darth Bane as well. So that's my answer.
Yeah, so Bianca on here says that she's looking forward to Dawn of the Jedi, the New Republic, and the New Jedi Order. So she's kind of with you, Martin, and I'm with her. I'm partially with her. I want to see how it all started. I want to see Dawn of the Jedi, but I just want to know that. I don't think you have to stay there. I think it's good to see, and Bianca says happy 400th. I have to get going. Thank you, Bianca. And I want to see where it started. I want to see how it just formed and all that stuff, and the first Force users and things like that. but I'm fully with you, Hannah. I think I want Old Republic because right now that's the only era that we know of that has Jedi versus Sith, like full-fledged thousands and thousands of Jedi, thousands and thousands of Sith, and they're just constantly fighting each other. And that, I just want to see that. I want to see that on screen or in live action, something. I want to see the height of both empires or both organizations,
Yeah.
and I want to see the struggle that happens. Now, the problem is like you said, Hannah, there's a massive, again, this is not canon though, so I'm taking it from there's a massive time period of the Old Republic, thousands and thousands of years. Darth Bane shows up about 1,000 years before Episode 1, but there's thousands of history of Sith versus Jedi before then. So there's so much time. Now, do they shorten that? Do they make that small? I don't know. But either way, I'm just the whole thought process of the first Jedi to leave the Order and form this Sith, dark side organization. Like I want to see that, and I want to experience that, and I hope they get to that at some point because I think they're going to. They introduced these eras. Right now, the only hint that we have is the remake of the game, which has been delayed right now. But I hope they actually make it a canon game, and then they start diving into that thing with books, with series, with a movie, whatever. It's the same thing they're doing with High Republic. I hope they go and do that with the Old Republic. That's what I want to. I do want to get away. I love where we are, Mandalorian, Ahsoka. I love that, but I do want to get, and I'm looking forward to Beyond, the new Jedi Order. But I want to also get to a whole different timeline, not just 200 years like High Republic. I want to go thousands of years later and figure out how this thing started and see the stories that we keep hearing about and all this stuff. So hopefully I am living long enough to do that.
Yeah, that's the problem, right?
That is the problem. Yeah.
But we have to admit, I mean, there's no era that I'm not excited about. You asked the question, it's really, really tough to actually pick one.
Agreed.
I want to watch it all. The type of fans that we are, I want all of it.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter. And I'm just as equally excited about finding out where it all began, like you guys just talked about. So I want to see it all. I want to see it all.
Yeah.
Like we're going to see the birth of Star Wars. We're going to see the end of Star Wars. I want, and, let's bookend this thing and have everything in the middle.
Yeah.
I want it all.
Oh, nice. All right, so we have hit our hour mark, and that's all I wanted to do. Just do a 1 hour 400th episode.
Can I throw something in here though, David?
Yeah, sure.
I have one other thing. I forgot to bring this up on The Mandalore. Some of you guys know that I got to meet Emily Swallow, who plays the armorer on The Mandalorian.
So jealous.
She recorded an intro for our show, and it's amazing. David's heard it. It's on actually, we used it on our Ahsoka trailer discussion recently.
Oh, okay, good. Yep.
But I got to spend some time with her one-on-one, and just, she pulled me aside from her autograph booth, and we got to just hang out with each other and work on the recording. That's a moment I will never forget. Me and Emily Swallow, just with my little recorder machine, working together. It's just beautiful. But the little news clip I want to give everybody, because I think this is fascinating. I think this is perfect for your 400th episode, guys. Is there was a lot of questions at the expo about the armor, and you know how we talked about it on the show a lot. There's so many theories. The armor is a spy. The armor is undercover. She's bad. Right. She's going to do something. And so many people, I think half the fandom swore that she was going to do something in The Mandalorian, and we never saw it. So Emily addressed that. And she went on record saying, I am not a spy. I am not a spy. I am true Mandalorian. And she actually, when fans questioned her, she actually got really upset about it. Like it was almost like how dare you? How could you even possibly believe I would go against my people? I am not a spy.
Interesting.
So let's put that theory to bed and be done with it.
Oh, there
The
we go.
armor is on our side.
We can do
Awesome.
that
We can do
until
that.
she reads the script for season 4.
Yeah, I know. And then it's like, well, oops.
Yeah, she may not know it yet, but no, I believe that. I believe that too. I think that was a stretch, but that's that's incredible. And over the years, I've been fortunate enough to go to Celebration and meet some of these creators and some of these people. And I remember a lot of people don't remember, maybe even know about him. His name's Leland, and he is the keeper of the holocron, which they call basically he was in charge of the Lucasfilm archives forever and one of the story group lead guys of the story group. But anyway, I ran into him on the floor of Celebration, and I knew who he was. I immediately started talking to him. No one really knew who he was because he was just walking around the floor and not really getting stopped. I had like a 20-minute conversation with him standing there, and he was asking me all kinds of questions, and it was just, and I feel so bad because it got to the point where I'm like, well, I figure, I guess you're busy. I'll just let you go. And I walked away. And I'm thinking, did I just walk away from that conversation? Because it seemed like he wanted to keep going. So, but I met so many good people. Pablo, who was Story Group, David Collins, who I've had on the show, and things like that. I mean, just incredible. These people are incredible, like you said.
They are amazing. Well, here, Han, I'll show you this if it shows up. That's
Yeah, I saw it on your Facebook, and I was like, oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
Me and the armor are working one-on-one.
And there's so many of them. There's so many, honestly, and I respect it. There's so many of them that would not do that. So a testament to her character that she did that.
Well, I talked to Katie Sackhoff as well, who's Bo-Katan, and she had her agent with her, and the agent kind of took over the conversation, and they just wouldn't allow it.
Right.
She really wanted to, but they wouldn't allow it. But Emily didn't. She didn't care.
I did that when I met Yana Sonotomo, who plays a Chewbacca now. You know, okay, we actually got a couple of. Anyway, what I was saying is he wanted to, but he said his agent wouldn't let him either. Froda, who watches both of our shows or listens to both shows, says hello from Norway. See, we got Norway.
Hey,
and
Froda.
Then we got Liam from Sydney popping on there.
Nice.
See, it's all
We
over.
are worldwide.
Well, Zach is apparently from Japan. He said he's off to bed.
Oh, wow.
Hoping us for 400 more. He said it's midnight here in Japan. May the force be with y'all.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic. Thank you, Zach.
Awesome, guys. I love when these shows are worldwide. It's great. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
It's so cool to find out that we've got fans all around the world.
Yeah. Oh, did Hannah?
Looks like we lost Hannah.
Did we lose Hannah? Oh, okay. Well, shoot. All right. Well, I'm closing this out anyway.
There she
Sorry. I don't know what happened there. My dog started barking, and I guess I hit both buttons at once.
Oh.
You're back. Well, we thank everybody for joining all over the world. Thank you for, I know, hopefully you've been on and not just jumping off, because we're going to close the show out here. I just want to say again, thank you everybody for being with me on this journey. And of course, a really deep appreciation for Hannah and for Martin for, contributing to this channel, to this show. I love talking Star Wars with my friends and my family, and you guys are definitely part of my family. Corey, who I tried to get on here, it's a little early for Corey, even though he lives right down the street from me. But he is obviously helping out with our Dark Knowledge show that's on YouTube as well. But again, it's been, of course, I can't say enough about Casey, who helped me start this show years ago. I know he's very much wanting to enjoy Star Wars as much as he can, but his life's a little hectic with 3 little kids. And then Cody, of course, who we still talk Star Wars with in the office a lot, but is unable to really join much anymore. But those guys really obviously helped keep the show going as well for a long time, because I tried to do this thing by myself for a while, and it's not the same. So I love the interaction that we have. I love the conversations that we have. So, as long as it's Star Wars, I will try to talk as much as I can about it. I mean, I do it anyway, so why not put it out there as what was the whole concept from the beginning. So,
Mm-hmm.
so anyway, truly, it's an honor and thank you. And if you see this after the live show, when we post it and you've come across it, just know that hopefully that this is all positive here. We may not like all of Star Wars stuff, but we're definitely not going to attack it. We're not going to attack anybody. This
Mm-hmm.
is pure fandom at its best, I hope, and we just want to share our opinions and spread the word and let you know what stories are out there and the things that we like and enjoy and be part of the conversation as much as you can. Let us know. Feedback is good. I'm growing on feedback, as I've done with Martin's taught me the way a little bit to
You're a little bit more used to
This
it
is
now.
the
eh?
way.
more into it. Yeah. So but anyway, I really can't thank everybody enough for being with me and to you guys for doing this. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dave.
Of course.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be part of the journey with you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
400. Okay. So
Here's the
Frode
400.
says, keep up the great work. Congrats on 400. Will you release it as a podcast too? Yes. It will be in the podcast stream probably later today. So,
Cool.
all right, everybody. Martin, thanks for waking up.
Thank
Hey,
you.
this is the way.
Check out the Mandalore podcast here coming out
Mhm.
soon when Ahsoka starts August 23rd. We will be doing that deep dive each episode there. Hannah, of course, is with me every week on Inside the Force and every so often on Beyond the Saga, where we dive into all the stories in the novels, the games, and the comics. And then, of course, all our other shows. Martin's actually joining me on council sessions these days. Corey, we're doing Dark Knowledge, and I've got like other couple of little minor things in the works that I'm going to be putting out there. So I know I keep saying it, but thank you everybody for tuning in. And here's to more episodes. Whoever knows how long we're going to get to, but that's number 400 in the can. Thank you, Martin.
All right. Thanks, guys. No problem.
Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching, listening. Take care. We'll see you next time. May the Force be with you. And who knows? I don't know if we're going to do this live thing ever again, but we'll see.
It was fun.
So this is live, so I'm going to cut it right now. Take care, everybody.